Alright, hello everybody, it's me Krim, and today we're back with another episode of GTNH. But today, you can actually call me Don Teflon, because we're going to be setting up an automated line, at least partially automated, for PTFE. So, yeah, we're just going to jump right into that. Between episodes, we haven't really done a whole lot. I did get my first clay bees, so I'm working on getting a good breeding stock of those going. But other than that, I've really just been doing some crafting. I batch crafted a whole bunch of Teflon in between episodes so that I can set up this line with two LCRs rather than the standard method of using a bunch of single block machines, because honestly that just kind of overcomplicates things, and we're so close to having the LCR anyways, and it really doesn't use that much. But if we look here, the Teflon, it's not super hard to make if you want to batch craft some of that yourself. I'd recommend doing it with oxygen. You get about twice as much out of it, but in the single chemical reactor, just chloroform and hydrofluoric acid, which neither of those things are too hard to get. I think that's what, yeah, chlorine and methane, and then the hydrofluoric acid, hydrogen and fluorine. So I just batch crafted a bunch of those. I think I used about 40 chloroform and 80 hydrofluoric acid. So it wasn't too hard to get, but yeah, we have all this set up in here ready to go. And then I might need to make a couple more single block machines here. I'll have to make a cut or something and do that, but we're gonna get started setting these up. Actually, I'm just gonna make a cut and go make those single block machines right now. I'll be back in just a second. Alright, we're back, and I should have everything I need. It's a pretty big should, but, you know, if I need anything, I can always make another cut and go get it. But we're going to be wall sharing these two. So then, let's see. I know this one's going to be set to circuit 1, and this one's going to be circuit 24. This is not my method. Also, I didn't come up with this. I saw it on the Cat's Cozy Games HV kind of guide video. I haven't, I don't like follow everything off the guide, but I thought that this was a really nice way to set it up without having to fuss around with all the single block stuff. And yeah, without that, I wouldn't have realized that you could face hatches towards each other and kind of do stuff like that. So that's cool. So then let's see. On the side, we're going to need, this one's going to be making the hydrofluoric acid and PTFE. So we'll need hydrogen, fluorine, and oxygen. And is that the only? Okay, I'm gonna need to make one more of those for sure. So I'll go do that in a second. But let's see. We'll fill in this here. Put the maintenance hatch in the middle. And then, let's see. So we're gonna need one more input hatch for methane. Okay, I'll need to make a couple more of those, but that shouldn't be a huge problem. We'll need an electrolyzer here on the back. And I'm actually going to go make those really quick before I continue this. Okay, so I needed to make a few more fluid tanks, but I thought I'd show you, since you kind of have machines now, it's not too hard to make that strengthened glass. It's just molten glass, a little bit of tin, and a little bit of saltpeter. And you get quite a bit out of it. So that's a pretty decent recipe. Let's see, where is that? We need to go to sleep. Also, don't make the mistake that I just did. You cannot fill this up with a fluid cell. You need to use a bucket. So keep that in mind, because I just placed that a couple minutes ago and destroyed all the torches in here. So let's see, we'll need 12 rings. Then you just take those on over to an assembler. Yeah, and you don't even need any more liquid glass. And these ones I think I'm actually just going to leave as the LV ones. I guess we don't really need the MV. I don't know. It's not too hard to make the MV ones though. A little bit of molten glass and some double plates, which I have. So I'll go grab that really quick then. Let's see. Let's go. I got enough up here. I think we need 6 of those. And then how much molten glass? Just 1. So we'll need, guess I'll grab 6 just in case. But I know I have a little bit extra in my chemical reactor downstairs. Let's grab a little more food. I need to get cooking again. I do a little bit of cooking, but then like the other half of the food I eat is just ingredients, because the cooking part does get a little tedious. Okay, there was 1 in here, so I'll just leave that for now. Take this on upstairs. Let's see. Does the circuit matter? Circuit 4. Do that. Put those in there. Then we'll throw those in here. And I have a couple of machine casings back here, but it never hurts to make a couple more. And I have plenty of aluminum. I've actually been batch crafting tons of aluminum, so we've even got 4 or 5 more stacks over at the other wing. And also, I thought I'd show off after last episode all of the components I made. SMDs, of course. But yeah, we're doing pretty good resource-wise. So I'll just go ahead and make 8 more of these, why not? Probably use them at some point anyways. So we need 16 wires. We'll need 8 more aluminum plates and 16 wrought iron. Okay, we got 17, but that's fine. Throw those in there. Pretty easy, just, you know, lots of manual batch crafting, but it's not the end of the world, and pretty soon we will be on our way to Applied Energistics 2, and I'll never have to handcraft anything again. That's probably not true, but I can dream and hope for now. Gonna eat bell peppers, mighty delicious. Those are done. Throw those in there and put those in there. Excuse me. Circuit 1. Oh, and I need polyethylene, so we're just going to take them downstairs. Yep, I do have some more polyethylene in here. Nope, doesn't like that. Oh, circuit 1, not 4. Okay. I was like, why is it not working? Cool, so those are on the way, and I will meet you back where we are building the LCRs in just a sec. Okay, we are back, and hopefully that is the last detour we have to make in the middle of this episode, but It's Greg Tech. You never really know. So we'll put output hatch there, and then input hatch here. Then, let's see. Gonna fill the rest of this in for now. Oh my goodness. Okay. Cool. So those are, I think the structure's actually done, but who knows. So then this electrolyzer is going to be splitting the hydrochloric acid that we get out back into the chlorine and hydrogen that we need. So we're going to need an output hatch, at least one more, which we can make super easy. You just screwdriver it in the crafting grid up here. So then it'll output, I guess we'll just make it right here. Or is this the one? Let's see. Let's actually go through the recipe here. So yes, this one will be outputting hydrochloric acid right here into the electrolyzer, which will get split back into chlorine and hydrogen, like I said, which both will be, let's see, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine. Yeah, okay, so we'll need fluorine, hydrogen on this side, and then the oxygen will actually be on the other side. So, let's see, maybe I can just get away with an input hatch then. Right here for hydrogen, because I know this one is going to be making the hydrofluoric acid. Then it'll be outputting on this side here into a super tank. And then the super tank, I guess I'll just have auto output. Okay, so then other than that, we need one more input hatch here for the methane. And hopefully that's everything we need, because that is our last one. So put that right there. Gonna need to go to sleep in a second too. Need a couple cobblestone so I can actually get up top here for a second. We have combustion generators. Don't tell me it's a blood moon. I don't think it is, but you never know. So that'll be outputting down there. Okay, good. No blood moon. I did have one recently, but sometimes they happen pretty quick after one another too. Why is that not working? What's wrong? Do I need to put them over here maybe? And they will wait. Yeah, that's the output. They'll output into the machine. Why? Too many hatches, maybe? No. What's the dealio? Can't do it on the top middle. Let's look in the NEI tab then. Large chemical reactor. I am confusion. Okay, well, I'm gonna figure this out. Give me just a second. Alright, so I figured out the problem. For one, I was using the combustion generators instead of the energy hatch, so that explains why it wasn't actually becoming part of the multi-block. But I just went ahead and got the rest of it up and running. So we've already actually made a decent amount of polyethylene coming out the front here. But I will need some more fluorine here in a second, and also some more methane pretty soon. But yeah, it's all up and running. I will say when I first got it started up, there were two little hiccups that I had. For one, the maintenance hatch. Since it's for two different machines, you actually have to trigger it twice to do maintenance on both machines. And then make sure you are locking your hatches. I didn't do that, and I had a whole bunch of stuff kind of get jammed up in the system here. But it should all be running just fine now, hopefully. If you don't know how to lock fluids, I didn't. This took me a second to figure out, but if you go into the output hatch here, this space where it says fluid locked none, that was confusing me. I was like, well, okay, how do I do it? The little bubble for it is right here. So if you need to lock a fluid, make sure you take a cell and put it on that side. But now that everything's locked, it should be running just fine. And nothing should be getting jammed up. So now it'll be as simple as come here and just fill these back up with cells, for now at least. But yeah, we have a whole bunch of polyethylene, and this right now is like honestly an insane quantity. I would be able to make a whole lot out of this. So like multiple stacks of like polyethylene ingots. So yeah, just make sure you get all that, but I'll break it down one more time for you guys here. So this one is set to circuit 1. Oh, that's not supposed to be like that. But basically, for these I had to actually craft a program circuit. For some reason, it wouldn't let me do it in the machine, so you have to take an LV circuit, any type works, put it in the crafting grid, and then you can just program it in your hand and put it in that little slot there. But yeah, basically this machine on circuit 1 here, this one makes the hydrofluoric acid and the final product, the polytetrafluoroethylene. So basically you have your inputs oxygen, and this one had fluorine in it. And so the oxygen's for later, but the fluorine comes in with the hydrogen here on the back, and they mix, and then the hydrofluoric acid comes out here, and it goes into this input hatch for circuit 24, which then mixes that, I believe, with the methane and the chlorine here. They get mixed, and then you get molten tetrafluoroethylene that comes out through this hatch right here. And then it goes into this hatch back on this first machine, and then it mixes with the oxygen to finally give you your polytetrafluoroethylene. So, you know, it's a few steps in the line, but it's not too complicated. Sorry if this was like a little convoluted. I was figuring this out too as I was going, because I've never built one of these machines before. And this trick is, not the most self-explanatory thing, but really the biggest hiccup for me was just make sure you're locking all your fluid outputs. That's the most important thing. And that just makes it so nothing's getting jammed up. But other than that, it's pretty simple. Behind this, there's an input hatch in here, and there's another input hatch in here. And then in between them, behind this, there is an output hatch locked to hydrochloric acid. So don't forget about that one too. But yeah, since they're wall sharing, I was having hydrofluoric acid coming out of this one, and I was having it getting locked inside of the output hatch that's supposed to go to that machine too, and it was going up here. It was sending hydrofluoric acid out of every hole it could find, so just make sure you're locking your fluids, and you should have a much easier time with it than I did. But yeah, I guess that's about all I have for you guys today. Mostly why I wanted to set this up was so I could just have a nice stockpile of polyethylene not polyethylene, PTFE going, so that I could make more chemical reactors, because I've got a piece of paper here next to me. I've been planning out Platline, and I think I'm gonna try and set up, it'll be rudimentary, but like a basic Platline for next episode. And so yeah, that's exciting. We'll be doing that, and we'll need a couple new ones of these. I think I'm planning to make a new EBF for that as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. That'll probably be, at least a week or two from when this episode comes out. But yeah, like I said, if you can just batch craft a little bit of this stuff to get started and get your first 2 LCRs, it's so much easier than having to do the chemical route with the single block machines, because yeah, that one's just a lot more complicated. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching everyone, and I will see you next time. Peace.